Good morning students, welcome to Jatin's Academy. Today in this class we will learn about the first chapter of chemistry, that is chemical reactions and equations. In this chapter we will learn about the physical change, the chemical change, types of chemical reactions, the oxidation concept, the reduction concept, corrosion and rancidity. Now let's come to the concept of physical change and chemical change. In the physical change, no new substance is formed, and in the chemical change, new substance is formed. Now what is the meaning of this new substance, no new substance is formed or new substance is formed? Take the example of paper. If we cut the paper or make any design, the paper composition remains same. So this is a physical change. In chemical change, take the example when we just burn the paper. When we burn the paper, the whole composition of paper changes. Coming to the second point in physical change and chemical change is reversibility. Physical changes are reversible in nature while chemical changes are irreversible in nature. Taking the example of rubber band. When we apply a force on the rubber band gets stretched. On removing the force, it comes back to its original shape. While in the chemical change, when we burn the paper convert into ash, but the ash will not come back to paper. So chemical changes are irreversible in nature. Now our third point is formation of new substance. In physical change, there is no formation of new substance. Take the example of water. Let's convert the water into ice or ice into water. The composition of water remains same in physical change, while in the chemical change, take the formation of water. Let's take when the hydrogen gas mixes with oxygen gas, it forms water vapor. The whole composition of the gases gets changed. How? Hydrogen gas is flammable in nature while oxygen gas is a spotter of combustion. But on the other side, water extinguishes the fire. Now our fourth point in physical change and chemical change is the energy production. In physical change, there is no production of energy, while in the chemical change, there is a production of energy. Take the example in the physical change, when we stretch the rubber band, there is no production of energy. While in the chemical change, if we burn the paper, there is a formation of light. This is a form of energy. So energy can be in heat form, light form or sound form. Now going further to our next topic, that is chemical reaction. So what is chemical reaction? Chemical reaction is a process in which two or more substances combine to form a single substance with different properties. Now what is this? Take the example of water, formation of water. The formation of water takes place in this way. When hydrogen gas reacts with oxygen, it forms water. Hydrogen is a combustible gas, oxygen is a spotter of the combustion, but water is extinguishes the fire. So whole the property of the product is get changed. I use the word product. What is reactant? What is product? Now we will see in this example the elements used on the left side of arrow all are reactants. In this case, hydrogen and oxygen is a reactant. And the elements or compounds on the right side of the arrow are called products. In this case, water is a product. In every chemical reaction, there are some changes takes place. These are change in temperature, change in color, change in state, and evolution of gas. Now I am going to explain each and every point of these changes. First is change in temperature. How change in temperature takes place? There are two types of changes. Either there is a evolution of heat or there is a absorption of heat. If there is a evolution of heat, the temperature of reaction increases. If there is absorption of heat, the temperature of reaction decreases. The reaction in which there is evolution of heat and temperature increases, this is exothermic reaction. And here where there is absorption of heat and temperature of reaction decreases, this is called endothermic reaction. Now we are going to explain these reactions with a suitable example. In exothermic reaction, taking the example of burning of coal. Coal is nothing but a form of carbon. When carbon burns in the presence of oxygen, it gives carbon dioxide and heat. This heat will increase the temperature of the reaction. Now taking the example of endothermic reaction, take a calcium carbonate. When calcium carbonate reacts with water, it absorbs heat from the environment. The temperature of the environment decreases, means reaction temperature decreases, and there is a formation of calcium oxide and carbon dioxide gas. Now going to the next point, that is change in color. Taking the example of rusting of iron. The rust of iron is brownish in color, whereas the iron nail is shiny. Now our next point is change in state. Taking the example of burning of candle. As wax is in solid state, it converted into vapor on burning. Our next point is evolution of gas. In some reaction, there is a release of gas takes place. For example, when metal reacts with acid, it gives hydrogen gas. Now our next topic is chemical equation. Now what is chemical equation? Chemical equation is a symbolic representation of chemical reaction in the form of formula or symbol. For example, formation of magnesium oxide. Take here magnesium plus oxygen give rise to magnesium oxide. Here magnesium and oxygens are reactant and magnesium oxide is a product. Here is the symbolic representation. The symbol of magnesium is Mg, symbol of oxygen atom is O2 and symbol of magnesium oxide is MgO. Here is the formula of magnesium oxide which you have already done in the 9th class, but no need to worry. For this I will tell you how the magnesium oxide is formed. Now see the formation of magnesium oxide. First of all, write the symbols of magnesium and oxygen. We know that the symbol of magnesium is Mg and the symbol of oxygen is O. Write the valency below the magnesium and oxygen. The valency of magnesium is 2 and the valency of oxygen is also 2. If they are divisible by any number, first of all divide them. Both are divisible by 2, first of all divide them. Now here magnesium 1 and oxygen 1. Now crisscross the valencies and there is a formation of magnesium oxide, that is MgO. Now our next topic is balanced chemical equation, which is most important topic. Now what is balanced chemical equation? The equation in which the number of atom on the reactant side is equal to the number of atom on the product side. The whole equation will be balanced. Balanced chemical equation is based on the conservation of mass. Now what is the conservation of mass? Conservation of mass states that mass can neither be created nor be destroyed. It means the total mass of the reactant is equals to the total mass of the product. Let it understand with a suitable example. Now let us make a lemon water. We know how lemon water is made. Take 500 gram of water, 40 gram of sugar, 10 gram of lemon. And tell me, what is the mass of the lemon water? Yes, it's 550 gram. How we know? We just add the mass of the reactant and the mass of the product we get. It means that the mass is conserved on both reactant and product side. This makes that this follows the law of conservation of mass. Now apply the same concept on the chemical reaction. Let's take the same example, formation of magnesium oxide. Here the mass of the magnesium is 24 gram and the mass of one oxygen atom is 16 grams, so 2 atom is 32 gram. On the right side, the mass of the magnesium oxide is 40 gram. Here the mass on the reactant side when we add is 56 gram, and on the other side mass of the product is 40 gram. Here 56 is not equal to 40, it means it does not follow the law of conservation of mass, so it is not balanced. Now on the basis of the law of conservation, we have to balance this equation. In this reaction, we have to make the number of atoms same now. Why? Because the same atom contains same atomic mass. So no need to worry about the mass. Mass will automatically balance if we balance the number of atoms on reactant side and product side. For that we have to make a table. In table we write number of atoms. Like in the reactant side, the magnesium is having 1 atom and oxygen is having 2 atoms. On the product side, magnesium is having 1 atom and oxygen is having 1 atom. So the oxygen atoms in both cases are not balanced. We have to balance them. There are some rules to balance the equation, but that rule we will discuss later. Here, for the sake of understanding, I am just balancing the equation for you. Here on the reactant side, magnesium is of 1 atom, oxygen of 2 atom. On the product side, magnesium is of 1 atom and oxygen is of 1 atom. It means oxygen is not balanced. So we have to balance the oxygen atom. We have to multiply magnesium oxide with 2 to make the oxygen balance. Yes, I know one question is coming in your mind, that why 2 is not added to the subscript of the oxygen. This I will tell you later. Here we have to multiply 2 with whole magnesium oxide. Now on the product side, magnesium atom is 2, oxygen atom is 2. Now oxygen is balanced, but now magnesium is not balanced. Now coming to the reactant side, multiply 2 with magnesium. Now the magnesium will become 2. Now the whole equation balanced. Now you understand little bit about the balancing. Now I am going to explain the rules of the balancing. After that we will do number of questions on balancing. To balance the chemical equation, we have to follow number of steps. We will understand these steps by taking the example. This example I have taken because number of steps is covered in this example and we will understand better. Here in this example, we have iron react with water, give rise to iron oxide and hydrogen gas. Now write the symbol. Iron symbol is Fe, water symbol is H2O, iron oxide symbol is Fe3O4 and hydrogen gas symbol is H2. Now to balance this chemical equation, we have to follow number of steps. The first step is write the number of atom of the reactant and product in a box as shown like this. Now start filling the box. Here on the reactant side, iron is of 1 atom, hydrogen is of 2 atom, oxygen is of 1 atom. On the product side, iron is of 3 atom, oxygen is of 4 atom and hydrogen is of 2 atoms. Our second step is now start balancing the reaction with the compound which is having maximum number of atoms either on the reactant side or on the product side. In this case, oxygen is of maximum atom, that is 4. Now start with the oxygen atom. On the reactant side, oxygen atom is 1 and on the product side, oxygen atom is 4. So we have to multiply with 4 on the reactant side. Now multiplying 4 on the reactant side, first of all we have to make the box on each the element or compound. Why? Because multiplying the things, we have to multiply only outside the box but not inside the box. Why I am explaining this box method? Because some students write the 4 on the subscript of the oxygen, which will change the formula of the chemical compound, and this is not possible in chemistry. So we have to write any number before the compound. For the sake of simplicity, we have to make the box like this. Now you understand the concept. Now start balancing. First of all, make the another box and count the new number of atoms you get after multiplying with 4. Here on the reactant side, iron is of 1 atom, oxygen is of 4 atoms, hydrogen is of 8 atoms. On the product side, iron is of 3 atoms, oxygen is of 4 atoms, and hydrogen is of 2 atoms. Now oxygen are balanced. Now we have to go with hydrogen. On the reactant side, hydrogen is of 8 atoms. Now first of all, understand how 8 is come. See on the reaction, 4 is outside the box and hydrogen atoms are 2. So multiply 4 with 2, we get 8 atoms. And on the product side, hydrogen atom is 2. So on the product side, in order to make same, we have to make 8 hydrogen, we have to multiply with 4. As you can see, the number of oxygen atom and hydrogen atom on both reactant and product side is same. But now see the Fe. On the reactant side, Fe is of 1 atom and on the product side, Fe is of 3 atom. So we have to multiply 3 on the reactant side. So multiply the 3 outside the box of Fe atom. Now you can see the number of atoms on the reactant side and the number of atoms on the product side all are equal. So it means the mass of the reactant side and the total mass on the product side are equal. So our equation is balanced and follow the law of conservation of mass. The summed up steps of the balanced chemical equation are written here. You can pause the video and write these steps. Here I am taking the second example in which I am taking aluminum chloride react with calcium hydroxide, give rise to aluminum hydroxide and calcium chloride. Why I am taking this example? Because in this example I want to tell you what happened when two elements are in the same bracket, how to solve that equation. To balance this chemical equation, our first step is to make the formula from this equation. First of all, make aluminum chloride. We have done the crisscross method. Now do that. Write the symbol of aluminum, that is Al. Write the symbol of chlorine, that is Cl. And write the valency below the aluminum. Aluminum valency is 3 and chlorine valency is 1. Now crisscross the valencies. We get aluminum chloride as AlCl3. On the other side, we have calcium hydroxide. We know the symbol of calcium is Ca and the symbol of hydroxide is OH. Now write the valency below the symbols. Calcium valency is 2, hydroxide valency is 1. Now crisscross the valency. Here note the one thing that while crisscrossing the valency, 2 is going both O and H. So we have to apply the bracket because this 2 is going to the subscript of O and H, that is 2 elements. For 2 elements we have to make the bracket. Now by the same way you can make the formula of aluminum hydroxide and calcium chloride. Here our equation is ready. Now make the box below this equation in which we write the number of atoms on the reactant side and number of atoms on the product side. Now count the number of atoms on the reactant side first. Okay. Here aluminum is of 1 atom, chlorine is of 3 atoms. On the other side calcium hydroxide, calcium is of 1 atom. And now here be careful. Oxygen and hydrogen are different atoms. So no need to write OH. Okay. We have to write O and H separately. O is of 2 atom because subscript is 2. And H is of 2 atom, the same subscript we use, that is 2. Now coming to the product side, here number of atoms of aluminum is 1, number of oxygen atom is 3 because the whole subscript OH is 3. Number of hydrogen atom is same 3 because subscript is 3. Number of calcium atom is 1 and number of chlorine atom is 2. Now start the balancing with maximum number of atoms. Here on the reactant side chlorine is of 3 atoms. On the product side oxygen and hydrogen is of 3 atoms. So which thing we will choose? We can choose anything, but for the simplicity I am taking chlorine as my starting point to balance the equation. Now your main work is to first of all make the box on each compound so that by mistake you can't write any number inside the box. I already tell you that you have to write the number in order to balance the equation outside the box but not inside the box. Now to balance the chlorine atom, here on the reactant side chlorine atom is 3 and on the product side chlorine atom is 2. So we can't make them equal by simply multiply with a number. So first of all take the LCM of these number and make them number equal to LCM. How? 3 and 2 LCM is 6. In order to make the 6 on the left hand side we have to multiply with 2. And in order to make the 6 on the right hand side we have to multiply with 3. Now in order to make 6 we have to multiply 2 with aluminum chloride and 3 with calcium chloride. Now the number of atoms on reactant side and product side get changed. Now we have to make another table and fill this table with new number of atoms. Now count the number of atoms. Here on the reactant side aluminum is of 2 atom, chlorine is of 6 atom, calcium is of 1 atom, hydrogen is of 2 atom, oxygen is of 2 atom. On the product side aluminum is of 1 atom, chlorine is of 6 atom, calcium is of 3 atoms, hydrogen is of 3 atoms and oxygen is of 3 atoms. Now take the element with maximum number of atoms. Here you see chlorine is 6 atom but chlorine is balanced, so no need to take chlorine. Now the another number is calcium, hydrogen and oxygen which is of 3 atom and on the product side. For simplicity I am start with calcium. Now balance the calcium. On the product side calcium is 3 and on the reactant side calcium is 1. So we have to multiply 3 on the reactant side. In order to make the calcium 3 we have to multiply 3 with the box which is having calcium hydroxide and again make a new table with new number of atoms in it. Here is a table in which on the reactant side aluminum is having 2 atom, chlorine is having 6 atom, calcium is having 3 atom, hydrogen is having 6 atom, oxygen is having 6 atom. On the product side aluminum is having 1 atom, chlorine is having 6 atom, calcium is having 3 atoms, hydrogen is having 3 atoms and oxygen is having 3 atoms. Now see how the number of hydrogen and oxygen on the reactant side get 6. Let's see, on the reactant side hydrogen and oxygen having a subscript 2 and outside the box there is 3. So we have to multiply the subscript and a number. Then we get 6. Now the total number of atoms of hydrogen and oxygen is 6. Now from the table note the maximum number of atom which is unbalanced. On the product side oxygen and hydrogen is having 3 atom which is unbalanced. So in order to make a 6 we have to multiply with 2. How we make multiply with 2? We have to multiply 2 on the product side of a box which is having aluminum hydroxide. Now start making the new table. In new table reactant side is same and on the product side aluminum get 2 atom, oxygen and hydrogen get 6 atom. Now you can see our whole equation is balanced because the number of reactant side atoms and number of product side atom get same. By this we have learnt about what is physical change, what is chemical change, how to make a formula from a chemical equation, how to balance an equation. Here I am giving you some examples which is your homework. You will do these examples by yourself, and if you get any doubt, ask me in the comment box. Now our next topic is types of chemical reaction. There are 4 types of chemical reaction. The names are given like this. First reaction is combination reaction, second is decomposition reaction, third is displacement reaction, and fourth is double displacement reaction. We have to study each and every reaction in detail one by one. Now first type is combination reaction. So what is combination reaction? As the name suggests, combination means something is combining. So the definition of combination reaction is like this: when the 2 or more reactant combine to form a single product. For example, magnesium ribbon burns in the presence of air, it gives magnesium oxide. Here air means oxygen. The symbol delta on the arrow signifies that heat is provided in this reaction. What we write on the arrow we will discuss later for different reaction. For the time being, here delta represent heat is given, and this is a exothermic reaction. Now magnesium is silvery in color, oxygen is a colorless gas, and magnesium oxide is white powder. Here colors are very important. Questions are directly asked from the exams, so please see the colors. In order to burn the magnesium ribbon without any hindrance, first we have to clean the magnesium ribbon with sandpaper. Why? Because on the exposure of air, magnesium ribbon get carbonate or oxide layer on the surface. This oxide or carbonate layer hinder the heating effect, so the magnesium ribbon will not burn if we can't remove this layer. So before burning we have to remove this layer. Here in this reaction, as magnesium and oxygen are 2 reactant, they are combined to form a single product, that is magnesium oxide. As the definition is clear, when 2 or more reactant combine to form a single product. Here are some examples of the combination reaction. Firstly, you have to make the equations from this example and then balance it. If you get any doubt, ask me in the comment box. Now coming to the second type of chemical reaction, that is decomposition reaction. Now here the name suggests what is decomposition, means breakdown. Something is breakdown. So what is the definition? Decomposition is a reaction in which one reactant decompose or break into 2 or more products. Here the decomposition will never occur itself. Even if we break the pencil, we have to apply the force. So something force is given to the reaction. What is this force? This force is either in the light form, either in the heat form, either in the electricity form. If we giving energy in the form of heat, then the type is called thermochemical decomposition or thermal decomposition. If we giving energy in the light form, then the reaction is called photochemical decomposition or photolysis. If we giving heat in the electricity form, then the reaction is called electrochemical decomposition or electrical decomposition. Now I am going to explain these types of reaction one by one by giving a suitable example. Our first reaction is thermal decomposition reaction. All the definition remains same. The definition is like that: the reaction in which one reactant decompose into 2 or more product by the action of heat. Here agent is changing, so only agent is changing in the different definitions. Here is the first example of thermal decomposition. The reaction is like this: when calcium carbonate is heated, it gives calcium oxide and carbon dioxide gas. Calcium carbonate is also called limestone. Calcium oxide is also called lime or quicklime. and carbon dioxide, we all know this is in the gaseous form. The arrow showing upward on the carbon dioxide show that the carbon dioxide is releasing from the reaction and going outside. This calcium carbonate is used in our home for whitewashing. Now see the next example of the thermal decomposition, that is when lead nitrate heat, the lead nitrate is decomposed into lead oxide, nitrogen dioxide gas and oxygen gas. Here we note that nitrogen dioxide gas is having brown fumes. So you remember the color of the brown fumes of nitrogen dioxide. This is important thing and asked in the question. Our next example is ferrous sulfate heptahydrated. When heated, it decomposes into ferrous sulfate and molecule of water. Here heptahydrated means 7 molecule of water. This molecule of water is actually the water of crystallization. What is water of crystallization? It means the water molecule attached to the compound to give the shape of the crystals, color and size. Here when we heating the ferrous sulfate, it decomposes and the ferrous sulfate become anhydrated. We have to note here the color. Here the ferrous sulfate color is green in color and ferrous sulfate, simply ferrous sulfate, that is also called anhydrous ferrous sulfate, is dirty white in color. Similar to this example, we have copper sulfate pentahydrated. Here on decomposition, copper sulfate become anhydrous copper sulfate and 5 molecule of water decomposes. Here we have to note the color, that copper sulfate color is blue crystals and the copper sulfate, that is anhydrous copper sulfate, is white in color. In both these reactions, you have see a different type of arrow. What type is this? These reactions are reversibly chemical reaction. What is the meaning of this? On the product side, if we add water molecules, we get the reactant back. It means these reactions are reversible in nature. Now our second type of decomposition reaction is photochemical decomposition or photolysis. In this reaction, a reactant is decomposed into 2 or more products by the action of light. This light is usually sunlight. Here is example of the photochemical reaction. In this example, we are taking silver chloride in a china dish and place in the sunlight. Here silver chloride is decomposed into silver and chlorine gas. Here silver chloride is white in color, silver is grey in color and chlorine is a colorless gas. Taking the another example of photolysis in which silver bromide is decomposed in the presence of sunlight, it decomposes into silver and bromine gas. This reaction is used in the black and white photography. Here is the last type of decomposition reaction, that is electrochemical decomposition reaction or electrolysis. In this reaction, one reactant is decomposed into 2 or more products by the action of electricity. It means electricity is passed through the solution. Here I am taking the example of decomposition of water. Water is decomposed into hydrogen gas and oxygen gas by passing the electricity. Electrolysis of water is not an easy task. The whole process is done in an apparatus. So firstly we have to know the apparatus and each thing attached in the apparatus. Here there is a plastic beaker. Why we take the plastic beaker? Because it is easy to make the holes in the plastic beaker. There are 2 holes on the bottom of the plastic beaker, and to avoid the leakage we put 2 stoppers, and in these 2 stoppers we put 2 electrodes. The electrode which conduct electricity, here the electrodes are graphite electrodes. These electrodes are attached to a 6-volt battery. Here the battery is having positive charge and negative charge. the positive charge is having anode and the negative charge is having cathode. Here the two glass tubes are inverted on the electrodes. Now connect the electrode with the battery. The electrode which is connected to the positive side, that electrode is called anode, and the electrode which is connected to the negative side, that electrode is called cathode. Now put the water in the beaker. Here also add few drops of acid. Why we add a few drops of acid? Because water is not ionized in the pure state. Now what is ionization? See, ionization is a process in which a molecule is break into its constituent ions. Constituent ion means positive ion and negative ion. Here water is not break down into H positive ion and OH negative ion in the pure state. So we have to add few drops of acid in the water. Now water ionize into H positive ion and OH negative ion. Here H positive ions are cations and OH negative ions are anions. Cations are attracted toward cathode which is negatively charged, and anions are attracted toward anode which is positively charged. In the anode side, OH negative is further break into O2 negative and H positive ion. H positive ion, that is cation, is attracted toward cathode, and O2 negative, the ions are collecting here and oxygen gas is produced in the anode chamber and hydrogen gas is produced in the cathode chamber. You may see that hydrogen atoms are more than oxygen atoms. So hydrogen gas is produced more and oxygen gas produced is less. When the hydrogen gas produced is more, the displaced water is more, and oxygen gas is produces less, the displaced water is less. You may see the level in the test tube also. Now if the question is asked in the exam, what is the ratio of the volume produced of hydrogen gas to the oxygen gas, the answer is 2:1. With this, our decomposition reactions are completed. Now we proceed to next type of the chemical reaction. Now our next type of chemical reaction is a displacement reaction. So what is displacement reaction? Displacement reaction is a reaction in which more reactive element displaces less reactive element in a chemical reaction. So what is more reactive? What is less reactive? Let it understand with the simple example. Here are two rats. One is active rat which run fast and one is weak rat means not run fast, and there is a one piece of cheese. Now which rat will take the cheese fast? Yes, active one. Here take rats are positively charged and cheese is a negatively charged if we taking with the chemical reaction. Now what is more reactive, what is less reactive elements? This is the series which is given by the scientist. Here represent which element is more reactive in the reaction and which is less reactive. Here is a reactivity series of metal in which potassium is most reactive and platinum is least reactive. Let it understand more deeply with a suitable example. Let's take the example when iron react with copper sulfate, it gives iron sulfate and copper. Now see the ions. Now see what happened in the reaction. When the iron goes in the solution, it becomes Fe2 positive, and copper sulfate goes in the solution, become copper 2 positive and SO4 2 negative. Now compare it with the rat example. Here are two rats means 2 positive ion, copper 2 positive ion and iron 2 positive ion. Now which is more reactive? More reactive we will see from the reactivity series. Yes, here iron is more reactive, so iron will take the sulfate ion and by the crisscross method it become iron sulfate, and copper is displaced out from the reaction. This reaction is done in such a way that take a copper sulfate in a glass beaker that is blue in color and put a iron nail which is shiny. Now place this setup for a few hours. After a few hours you will see the blue color of copper sulfate fades. It means iron sulfate is formed, which is light green in color, and copper, which is displaced in this reaction, attached to the iron nail, and iron nail become reddish brown. Now if we talk about the reversibility of the reaction, is it possible that when iron sulfate mix with copper, it gives copper sulfate and iron? Let's see. Here, when iron sulfate is break down or ionize, it become Fe2 positive, SO4 2 negative, and copper become Cu2 positive. Now compare these both positive charge, that is Rat, with the metal activity series. Again Fe is more reactive, so it will take iron sulfate. So the product again become iron sulfate and copper. So this reaction is not possible, means reversibility is not possible. Here are the few similar examples which we have done. Here you have to note the color and reaction because these are important in exam point of view. Here with this our displacement reaction is completed. Now coming to the next type of chemical reaction, that is double displacement. Now what is double displacement? Double displacement is a type of chemical reaction in which two compounds react to form two other compound by mutual exchanging their ions or atoms. Let's understand this reaction with the example. Here sodium sulfate reacts with barium chloride. It gives sodium chloride and barium sulfate. Here sodium sulfate is colorless substance and barium chloride is also a colorless substance. When they mix with each other, sodium chloride is formed, which is soluble in water, means there is no PPTs is formed, and the barium sulfate white precipitate is formed and barium sulfate is settled down in the reaction. What is PPTs? PPT is precipitation. Precipitation is what? These are insoluble particles present in the solution. So this reaction in which PPTs are formed, this reaction is also called precipitation reaction. Let us understand how there is a mutual exchange of ion takes place in this example. See in the solution, sodium sulfate is ionized in Na positive ion and SO4 2 negative ion. Barium chloride is ionized in this reaction in Ba2 positive ions and Cl negative ion. Now there is a exchange of ions. Exchange of ion takes place means sodium goes to chlorine and barium goes to sulfate. Now by the same crisscross method which we have done earlier, you can make the formula of sodium chloride, that is NaCl, and barium sulfate, that is BaSO4. Now coming to our next topic, that is oxidation and reduction. First of all, understand the meaning of oxidation and meaning of reduction. How oxidation takes place in the reaction and how reduction takes place. Now what is oxidation? Oxidation takes place in the reaction if there is a addition of oxygen or removal of hydrogen or there is a loss of electron takes place. And on the other side, in the reduction takes place if there is a loss of oxygen or there is a addition of hydrogen or there is a gain of electron. If any of these things are possible in the reaction, then we can say that there may be oxidation or reduction taking place in the reaction. Now see how oxidation takes place with the suitable example. Here I am taking the example when copper reacts with oxygen, it gives copper oxide. Now see in this example, copper on the reactant side, when react with oxygen, on the product side oxygen is added to the copper. It means there is an addition of oxygen takes place to the copper. So copper undergoes a oxidation process, or we can say that there is a oxidation of copper takes place. Now let us take the another example in which we will study reduction concept. Here copper oxide react with hydrogen and we are heating the mixture. We get copper and water vapor. Here oxygen is present on the reactant side, means oxygen is attached to the copper, and on the product side oxygen is not there in the copper. So there is a removal of oxygen. If there is a removal of oxygen, then that thing is called reduction. Here copper oxide get reduced to copper. And now see, you understand the reduction, and now see here hydrogen is on the reactant side is without oxygen, and on the product side hydrogen attached with oxygen, it means hydrogen is oxidized to water vapor. So in this reaction both oxidation and reduction takes place, and the reaction in which both oxidation and reduction takes place, that reaction is called redox reaction. Now understand the electronic concept of oxidation and reduction by taking an example. In this example, I am taking the displacement reaction in which zinc react with copper sulfate, give zinc sulfate and copper. Now see what is actually happening in the reaction. Here copper sulfate dissociate into copper Cu2 positive and sulfate SO4 2 negative, and now zinc on losing the electron becomes Zn2 positive. Here zinc is losing the electron, so it undergoes oxidation process. The copper Cu2 positive on gaining the same electron become copper, so here copper 2 positive actually gaining the electron, so copper is undergo reduction process. Now here both oxidation and reduction takes place in the reaction, so this is called redox reaction. We have learned about the oxidation concept and reduction concept. Now coming to the new concept of oxidizing agent and reducing agent. What is oxidizing agent? What is reducing agent? Before that, first of all understand what is the meaning of agent. Taking the example of money lender agent. Money lender agent giving money to the people money increases and the money lender money decreases. It means what is the oxidizing agent? Oxidizing agent oxidized others and reduced itself. Similarly, reducing agent reduces other and oxidized itself. Now understand the oxidizing agent and reducing agent with the same example which we have taken earlier. Here copper oxide reacts with hydrogen, gives copper and water. Here copper oxide reduced to copper, removal of oxygen is taking place, and hydrogen is oxidized to water. Here copper oxide is actually reducing. Who is reducing the copper oxide? Hydrogen is reducing the copper oxide. It means hydrogen is reducing agent, means reduces the copper oxide and oxidized itself. So hydrogen is a reducing agent. Here copper oxide is a oxidizing agent, means reduced itself and oxidized other, means oxidized hydrogen to water. As we have already learned that what is oxidation? Oxidation means addition of oxygen. If in oxygen is added to the metal, then metal oxide is formed. It is also called corrosion of metal. If oxygen is added to the food, food is oxidized. This is called rancidity of food. What is corrosion? What is rancidity? We have learned something little bit. Now we will explain these terms more accurately. Now let's understand what is corrosion. When a metal is exposed to the environment, means in the environment there is moisture and oxygen is there. A oxide layer is formed on the surface of metal, which is called the metal oxide layer. This layer is actually undesirable to some metals and desirable to some metals. So this layer is called corrosion of metal. Usually in case of iron, this oxide layer is undesirable and the metal is corroded and the whole iron piece get damaged due to this corrosion. Now let us understand in which metal corrosion is good and in which metal corrosion is bad. Here taking the example of rusting of iron. Rusting of iron is nothing but corrosion of iron piece. Here take the piece of pure iron. Pure iron is Fe. When it in contact with the environment means oxygen and water vapor, its surface exposed to oxidation process means iron oxide is formed on the surface of iron which is brittle in nature. Due to brittle in nature, the layer of the outer surface shed off. Shed off means now the new iron piece exposed to the environment. Again this iron piece oxidized and become brittle in nature. Now this process again repeat and the whole metal piece is eaten up. So corrosion is very harmful for the iron articles. Now take the example of other metal, that is aluminium. Aluminium when exposed to the environment, a layer of aluminium oxide is formed on the surface of aluminium. Aluminium oxide layer is more stronger than aluminium metal itself. So if the aluminium oxide layer is more stronger, so there is a further oxidation of aluminium metal not takes place because already a stronger layer of aluminium oxide present on the surface. So the further oxidation not takes place, the metal becomes strong and the metal is not eaten up. So oxidation process is also useful to some metals. Now you can see many articles in our daily life which we use are made up of iron articles like our table, our chair, our main gate. These all are made from iron article, and also the corrosion of iron is very harmful. So how we avoid this corrosion? There are some steps which we have to follow in order to avoid the corrosion. What is the main cause of corrosion? Main cause of corrosion is the metal oxidation. So we have to avoid the oxidation of the surface of the metal. So what is the source of oxidation? Source of oxidation is environment. It means we have to cut down the link between the metal surface and the environment. Now to cut the link between the outer surface of the iron and the environment, we can use these different methods. First is by applying the paint on the surface, or by applying the oil on the surface, or by applying the grease on the surface according to the different application. The most important application, the most important process is actually used a galvanization. What is galvanization? A zinc layer is coated on the surface of the iron metal. Why we put the zinc layer on the iron metal? Because zinc layer will not oxidized easily. Not oxidized easily, it means the inner iron will not oxidize easily, so it prevent the corrosion of iron piece and our iron piece get prevent from the damage. Here are few examples which you may note down. These are the examples in which metal on corrosion changes its color. These are important examples, important for your exam point of view. Now coming to the next concept, that is rancidity. Now what is rancidity? Rancidity is a process in which a food articles get oxidized and a foul or bad smell is coming out from the food. The food is called rancid food. So this process is called rancidity. How a food get rancid? See, there are so many bacteria are present in the environment. The bacteria actually oxidize the food when the food is in contact with the environment and the food get rancid. As you may can see in your daily life that if we put a milk outside the refrigerator After 1 or 2 days, a foul smell is coming from the milk and the taste of the milk becomes sour. It means the milk is oxidized. So the milk becomes rancid, a foul smell is coming and the taste of the food product gets changed on rancidity. Now how to prevent rancidity? The cause of rancidity is actually the bacteria which is decomposing the food and get oxidized. It means we have to cut down the contact of the food with the bacteria. How we cut down this contact? Either we put the food in the vacuum state. Vacuum state, there is no oxygen or any gas is present. Vacuum means there is no gas. So if the food is in no gas, so the food will not get oxidized. Or we put the food in the inert gas, like in the Lay's packet. The Lay's packet, nitrogen gas is filled. The nitrogen gas cut down the contact of the Lay's with the environment, so oxidation process not takes place. Either at low temperature the bacteria efficiency decreases, means oxidation process decreases. So we can put the food in the refrigerator, or in some cases like in the meat, the food is kept in a frozen state. Here are some steps to prevent the rancidity. You may note down this. With this, our first chapter, that is chemical reactions and equations, is completed. If you have any doubt, you may ask in the comment box, and for the notes I will provide you the another video. For that video you may press the bell icon. Thank you.